Hi, I'm Trina, and today we're reviewing a Ferrari FF only at Toronto Auto Brokers. So of course this vehicle clearly is Ferrari red. Now if we come down to the front, you're gonna have this massive front grille, a decent ground clearance, and these cooling ducts right up front. Now I do wanna illustrate just how big these headlights are. Use my body. So they are bigger than my entire arm, and they are LED as well. And this is a 2012, so this is significant for its year. We have this gorgeous deep front hood, and then it's gonna come around to our 20-inch rims. Now what I like about these rims is they're not busy at all. They're just a simple 5-spoke. They're not trying to be flashy, and Ferrari doesn't really have to try to be flashy. It's a nice piano finish. This badge here of the prancing horse, I do believe that it was an option for this year, not to only just have it, but to have it this big. It is just shy of the size of my hand. So coming around the back of the Ferrari FF, again, we have our back tire with the prancing horse once more. Now this is more of a wagon, and this was actually the first all-wheel drive vehicle that Ferrari put out of its kind at the year of this launch. On the back of the vehicle, we happen to have a couple cooling vents, and what I think is super impressive, it's a small thing to point out, but how they have the back tail light coming out like this canister style. This absolutely wasn't necessary, and I can't imagine that it was cheap, and to me it really stands out on the vehicle. The back end really just screams Ferrari. You would have no idea that this is a wagon of any kind, and Ferrari, again, you know exactly it's a Ferrari from the back end. And of course the sound, which we're gonna test out soon. And then you have your quad exhaust with another cooling vent around the exhaust. The ground clearance is quite impressive because I do believe that this was meant to be more of, you know, a family vehicle, but still super cool. So being that it is a wagon, we're gonna have some space back here. So it's not a considerable amount of space. You do have a shelf, you know, there's a more shelving in here, but you do have a back seat, right? So give a little, take a little, but those back seats do go down. So if you're traveling solo or just with a partner, you guys will have all of that back end of the vehicle to pack all your storage. So being that this is a wagon, it is still a Ferrari. So you're gonna notice at the back end, there's really a lot of styling that's going on here. It's quite bulky. It is hanging over your tire quite a bit. The sleek design all throughout the bottom. This is a pretty massive front hood, and the engine really does sit right about there. So it's not quite mid-vehicle, but it's definitely pushed back, just to kind of give you an idea of just truly how big this vehicle is. So now that we're inside of the Ferrari FF, we'll take a look at some of the features I think are pretty impressive. So you have 3 different kinds of textures in here. You have your leather with the red stitching. You also have a little splash of Alcantara down here. And there is carbon fiber sprinkled all throughout this vehicle. So you have it on the dash here, you have it on your cooling vents, you have it down here on the grip handle. This is going to be your shift mode, so they are just buttons in the FF. You also have carbon fiber accents throughout the steering wheel, as well as your paddle shifters, as well as more on your instrumental cluster and your door handles. So it really is just sprinkled with carbon fiber everywhere, which is pretty fantastic. So this vehicle is a 2012, so it has some pretty impressive features, but it's also gonna lack because, you know, came out in 2012. So there isn't a USB port, but there is still your 12-volt cigarette lighter in here that you can put an extender on. It does have a touch screen. It actually, which is pretty interesting, it does have a leather roof. It's a Ferrari, so you're gonna sprinkle your leather everywhere as well. You do have some drive modes. Everything is right at the fingertip, and of course your prancing horse right on the steering wheel for your driver focus. It does have back seats. You can definitely fit, you know, nobody's super tall, but people can fit back there. There's also a couple cup holders as well as some kind of comfort features for your guests. I did happen to find this back there. So this seems, I'm not quite sure. I'm sure everybody out there knows what it is because I absolutely don't, but it has some fuses. You have your little wrench, and of course, if you're going to work on your Ferrari and it's having some issues, you absolutely need to make sure that you are gonna wear your Ferrari gloves so you don't get your hands dirty. So being that this is a 2012, it still does need a key to start it, but it also has your push start button. So you need to engage the key and then press the push start button. But now we're gonna test the exhaust note, and this is one that the whole world would recognize. So now we're gonna look under the hood. So this is a V12 engine. It has 651 horsepower, and it's also gonna go 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. And of course, right here with your Ferrari, you're gonna have your chassis number. So one thing I do also want to point out, true to the Italian fashion, is how Ferrari just has such a clean engine bay, but they're also going to tie in that Ferrari red throughout the top of the engine, underneath, and also you have these massive vents pulling into the engine itself. So if you're interested in introducing the Ferrari FF Grand Tour to your family, make sure you check it out here exclusively at Toronto Auto Brokers and visit torontoautobrokers.com.